So as you can see, there's a lot of research underway. There's a lot of companies that are forming. There's a bit of a drone economy. I want to say something about the word drone that's going to come up over and over again this weekend. In fact, you heard our keynote speaker, Vijay Kumar, state that he is against the word drone. Why do we call this conference the Drones and Aerial Robotics Conference? Because drone is a very packed and loaded word, and drone also has a very specific meaning to people who are building and operating drones. We're talking about flying robots generally. We're talking about both things which are remotely piloted, things which are halfway autonomous, things which are fully autonomous in the past, today, and in the future, and in the far future. So drones are really important if we're talking about the zeitgeist. A lot of people just click with that term and they get the bundle of issues and the policy questions that we're going to need to be answering. Aerial robotics is a bit more expansive and a bit more correct. And if you put them together, you get a really cool acronym. And that's actually the main reason why we did it. So next up, to sort of expand on this idea of a drone economy and this new space that's forming, we have Samara Kasim and Matt Caccavale from Deloitte, who've done a really interesting study. They call it a drone census. And here to tell us about the drone census, I'm going to kick it off to Matt and Samara. Please give them a warm welcome.
Hi, I'm Samara.
I'm Matt.
And we're going to talk about drones in the public sector.
Okay. So at the height of the Cold War, satellites were the breakthrough technology for America's defense and intelligence agencies. With so little known about our adversaries in the Soviet Union, they were a critical component in the dangerous arms race. But these primitive satellites had a huge design flaw. So to relay their observations back from space, they had to eject a canister of undeveloped film from space back to Earth, as you can see in the image. The US was left with the difficult task of intercepting these canisters of undeveloped film in midair. Now, as you might imagine, this was a very difficult task, and it failed over a third of the time. This cost the program dearly and left a dangerous blind spot for America. However, by 1976, NASA engineers and Air Force engineers came up with a breakthrough technology that allowed them to digitally transmit images from space back to Earth. This new technology was the digital camera. It's safe to guess that almost everyone in the audience right now probably has this technology in your pocket, and some of you, like this gentleman, are using it as we speak. This is a technology made for war, and it's now used in our everyday lives to take images of some of the most memorable moments in our lives, or to let me do things, trivial things like take pictures of my son wearing funny hats. So whether it was the GPS, or the internet, or drones, history is filled with stories of swords being turned into plowshares.
So UAVs transform the military workforce. And we believe that in the same way, they'll transform the civilian government workforce. So to understand what this transformation will look like, we dug through US federal government data on different agencies, job types, and civilian employees. And we'd like to share our results with you today. So first, we looked at the agencies, and we found a broad spectrum that can benefit from using UAVs. On one hand, there's the US Forest Service that can use UAVs to map millions of acres of land. On the other hand, there's the Army Corps of Engineers that will use UAVs to inspect and monitor our nation's critical infrastructure. Second, we looked at the different job types, and we identified 126 different federal job types that can benefit from using UAVs. These jobs have surveying, monitoring, inspection, and aviation support as critical components. Take, for example, a government scientist who can use this technology to track a plant pathogen and save our crops. So think about the work that you do. What kind of technologies will be developed by the technologies you're developing? What kind of jobs will be developed in the public sector?
So we also looked at the users, because the users are going to drive a lot of this technology, what problems they're solving with it, how they interface with it. So we looked at the federal government users. And of the 2 million civilian federal employees, unfortunately many of which are out of work right now, we forecast that over 20% of these civilian employees will be able to use drones in their day-to-day jobs to meet their mission. So we looked at where they do their work, who they are, and where are they in their career. So here are a few quick highlights. We found that of the 430,000 potential users, over half of them are located in just 10 states. Now, as you can see here, fortunately, these states are highly aligned with our nation's technology corridors and pockets of the unmanned systems industry. And this alignment is going to be key towards keeping up with federal demand and mapping skills to problems. Next, we looked at where they are in their careers. Now, over a third of these potential users are baby boomers. Now, as we all know, there's a big upcoming baby boomer retirement, or at least my father would hope so. And there's going to be a considerable skills gap in the federal government. Now, this presents an opportunity to the millennials in government that are looking to build a career. Now, us millennials get slammed in the press every day, but we're fantastic adopters of technology, and we expect it to be part of our daily jobs. So this presents a great opportunity for them. Our clients come to us every day and say, how can we attract a younger talent pool to government? Perhaps this is a start. And then finally, we looked at who's doing this work. And what we found was interesting. Over half of these jobs are high-skilled professional jobs, jobs making over $70,000 a year. This tells me a couple things. First, that not only are these jobs jobs that pay well, they're jobs that you can build a career around. These are careers in public service. And second, they tell us that this defies the conventional wisdom that unmanned systems are only good for menial tasks. These are high-skilled upper management jobs.
So we've presented you with a lot of data, but what will this look like in the real world? So imagine for a moment that a Category 5 hurricane is about to hit the coast of Florida. The US government deploys a drone right into the eye of the storm. The drone's then able to take images and relay them back to first responders on the ground, who use these images to map out their response strategy and save lives. This technology is already available today. NASA has recently converted Global Hawks into what they call hurricane hunters. Or imagine a safety inspector monitoring pipelines, oil pipelines in Alaska. From the comfort of her desk, she's able to detect oil leaks and prevent disasters, all while enjoying her morning cup of coffee. Energy companies are already using this technology to monitor and inspect their large assets.
Or imagine that heavy rains have washed out the roads leading up to a remote village. Without roads, they're cut off from society and they're cut off from help. However, responders were able to route resources and medical aids by drone. This all sounds like wishful thinking, but this type of technology is already being developed by groups like Matternet and the MIT Gates team, who's here today. So just like those NASA engineers who developed the digital camera, it's those of you in the room today that are going to be the driving force behind using unmanned systems to solve our toughest problems. As you see in the news every day, the government needs you. They need your ideas, they need your entrepreneurship, and they need your energy to solve tough problems. So we'll leave you with one simple question to think about throughout the conference. Are you up for the challenge? Thank you.